You wake up in the middle of the night. Your eyes are open, but your body isn't moving. The room feels heavier, darker, and you know something's there. You want to scream, but you can't. You want to run, but your body's trapped between dreaming and reality. And then you feel it. The weight on your chest, the whisper in your ear, the presence that's watching you from the corner of the room. Tonight, we're diving into 3 true sleep paralysis horror stories. Real encounters from people who swear what they saw wasn't just a dream. So turn off the lights and listen carefully, because once you hear these stories, you might not sleep again. Story 1. The shadow at the end of the bed. Lauren had always been a light sleeper. Living alone in her small apartment downtown, every creak or hum from the street outside was enough to wake her. But one night, what woke her wasn't a sound. It was silence. A silence so thick it felt unnatural. She opened her eyes, instantly alert. The digital clock beside her bed glowed 3:17 a.m. That's when she realized she couldn't move. Her arms were frozen at her sides. Her body felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. She tried to call out, but her throat was locked tight. Her mind screamed, "Wake up! Move!" But nothing happened. Then came the sound. Footsteps. Slow, dragging, moving across her bedroom floor. At first she thought she was dreaming, until she saw it. A tall, dark figure stood at the end of her bed, completely black, like a shadow that had detached itself from the wall. It didn't move. It didn't breathe. It just watched. The air grew colder. Her chest tightened, pressure building as if something invisible was pressing down on her lungs. The figure began to lean forward, slowly. Its outline shifted, and she could make out what looked like eyes, hollow, glowing faintly red in the dark. She wanted to scream, wanted to thrash, but all she could do was stare, tears filling her eyes. The shadow leaned closer until it was inches from her face. She could feel it breathing, warm, damp, rancid air brushing her cheek. Then in a voice that wasn't quite human, it whispered, "You shouldn't have moved here." Her heart pounded. A loud ringing filled her ears. And then it was gone. She bolted upright, gasping for air. Body finally released. The clock still read 3:17. The next morning, she found her front door slightly open, and muddy footprints, large ones, leading from the threshold toward her bedroom. Story 2. The Visitor in the Mirror. Ethan was 19 when it started. College dorms were loud, chaotic, and sleepless. But the nightmares didn't care. The first time it happened, he was half asleep, half aware, staring at the ceiling fan spinning above him. Then suddenly, the room went still. No fan noise, no dorm chatter, just dead silence. He couldn't move, couldn't even blink. At first, panic flooded him, but then he noticed something else. His roommate's mirror across from the bed was reflecting movement. Ethan's breath caught. In the mirror standing behind him was a figure, tall, pale, with its head tilted too far to one side, like a broken puppet. Its mouth hung open in a silent scream, and its reflection began to move closer, though in reality, nothing was behind him. He could see it in the glass, leaning closer, closer, until it was hovering right above his frozen body. Then he heard it, not out loud but in his head, a whisper. "Can I wear your face?" Every part of him screamed to move, to wake up, and just as its fingers brushed his shoulder, he jerked awake, drenched in sweat. The room looked normal. His roommate was snoring. The mirror was empty. He told himself it was just a dream. But over the next few nights, it kept happening. Each episode, the same figure, always in the mirror, getting closer. Until one night, the reflection smiled. And when Ethan finally woke up, there were handprints on the mirror's surface, too high to be his, too long to be human. He moved dorms the next week, but the nightmares followed. Now he sleeps with no mirrors in his room. But sometimes when he wakes up and catches his reflection in a dark window, he swears he sees a faint smile that isn't his own. Story 3. The Old Woman in the Hallway. Carla had never believed in ghosts. She was practical, a nurse used to long hours and sleepless nights. So when she started experiencing sleep paralysis, she blamed it on stress. But there's only so many times you can wake up paralyzed before something feels wrong. It started with sounds. Footsteps pacing her hallway. Every time she woke up, she'd hear the same thing. Slow steps, dragging slightly, moving closer to her bedroom door. The first time, she managed to convince herself it was her imagination. The second time, she heard breathing. And the third time, she saw her. The bedroom door creaked open. Not all the way, just enough for a sliver of light to reveal a shape. An old woman stood there. Her back was hunched, her hair tangled gray, her eyes black and hollow. Carla wanted to scream, wanted to move, but all she could do was watch as the woman shuffled closer, step by step, until she stood at the side of the bed. Then in a whisper so soft it made her skin crawl, the woman said, "I used to live here." The air turned freezing. Carla's chest tightened. She couldn't breathe. The old woman reached out, her hands trembling as it hovered above Carla's face. And then she smiled. Carla's body jolted awake with a scream, heart racing, drenched in sweat. The room was empty, but the next morning, something was off. The hallway rug, which usually stopped just outside her door, was pushed inward, as if someone had walked across it during the night. She brushed it off, until a few days later, her landlord called. "Hey, Carla," he said, "we're replacing the locks on all units this week. That apartment you're in, an elderly woman died there last year. She fell in the hallway. No one found her for days. Carla moved out 2 weeks later, but she still wakes up some nights, frozen, staring at the open doorway, waiting to hear that voice again." Sleep paralysis is supposed to be harmless, just your brain waking up before your body. That's what the experts say. But how do you explain the footprints, the handprints, the voices that remember your name? Maybe it's science. Maybe it's something darker. But one thing's for sure, when your eyes open at 3 a.m. and your body won't move, you're not alone. If these true sleep paralysis horror stories kept you awake tonight, hit like to let us know, and share your own sleep paralysis experience in the comments below. Your story might appear in the next video. And don't forget to subscribe to Mr. Nightmare Terrors for more true horror stories, real encounters, and chilling nightmares that remind us. Sometimes the scariest things don't come from outside your door. They're already inside your head.